with the first case that there is a 50 years old lady, known case of end stage renal disease, presented for revision hip surgery. Okay, I repeat, 50-year-old female, known case of end stage renal disease, uh, presented for revision hip surgery. By the way, first question: what is end stage renal disease? Yes, Dr. Atik. What do you mean by end stage renal disease?
The end-stage renal disease is a disease in which there would be um, less than 25% of kidney are less than 25% of kidney functions are doing, and the rest the kidneys are non-functioning.
No, what does it mean by 25%? End stage renal disease is not this one, but you are telling.
End-stage disease is the one in which
It is almost total loss of renal function. Total loss of renal function, and patient is on dialysis dependent, because now there is oliguria less than 10. Actually, it is being decided on the basis of GFR. Okay, so if you are you can be classifying on the basis of Akin or this one rifle that occurs in case of acute renal failure. But usually in real sense, in virtual sense, whenever we are talking about end stage renal disease, usually it's being decided on the basis of GFR. So GFR is less than 10 ml per hour, I think. It is end
Per
stage.
minute.
I'm sorry, per minute. Okay, so it is it's urine output less than 10 ml. Okay, so less than 0.3 ml per kg per hour. Am I right?
Yes, sir. 0.3 for 24 hours and then urea for 12 hours.
Yes. Okay. So that's how you will decide, like you will label it end stage renal disease. Okay. So Atik bhai, this is first question. Second question, what are the just enumerate anesthesia considerations or anesthesia priorities or anesthesia problems which you can face in a patient with end stage renal disease? Just enumerate.
Sir, in the renal state, renal failure, we will have.
I'm sorry, Atik bhai, just unmute yourself. By mistake, I unmute you. Yes.
Sir, in this we will check that whether the patient is on dialysis or not.
Okay,
One.
this is okay.
And the second one is we need to ask about the what surgery we are doing it.
Atik bhai, please just try to be a little methodical. First question, what was the question I asked? What are the challenges? What are the consideration? What are the problems which you face in a patient with end stage renal disease? So first will be the answer. First answer should be that end stage renal disease patient has multisystemic effects, which will be which will be needing to optimize the anesthesia management. This should be your first answer. Okay, and then you can say that what are these concerns. Then those concerns you can say that the patient is dialysis dependent. So the concerns related to dialysis. Okay.
Dialysis.
Yes.
And sir,
now you can speak.
We will be looking for any fluid overload.
Okay.
Third one is the third one is the whether it is diabetes. The patient is also having comorbidity like diabetes, hypertension, anemia, anemic.
Okay.
And And fourth one is about the cardiac status, like whether the patient has having cardiac status like valvular heart diseases are present or not. So fourth one is that how much urine he is passing.
How much incidence, if you will say this, they will ask you, how much is the incidence of valvular heart disease in renal failure? What's the association of renal failure and valvular heart disease? Is it something more important in hypertension than valvular heart disease in cardiovascular system?
Sir, there might be, sir, about the hyperkalemia, electrolyte
No, please, just just few words about cardiovascular challenges in a patient with renal failure. This is hypertension, this is arrhythmias,
Hypertension,
this
yes.
is of cardiomyopathy.
Cardiomyopathy, arrhythmia, hypertension, sir.
Valvular heart
And-
disease can be the last thing, okay? Because
And-
usually
and
whatever
left-
the valvular disease will be, it will be because of fluid overload, okay? If it is there. And pulmonary
another one
hypertension.
is the left ventricular failure, and there may be any pericardial effusion if the patient is having fluid overload. Sir,
Pericardial effusion is related to fluid overload?
it can be.
But what is more common in fluid overload? Pericardial effusion or pulmonary edema?
No, pulmonary edema or basal crampts, sir.
Okay.
Dependent edema, basal crampts, and postal hypertension, urine output, sir, and the skin turgor, adhesion status, I would say, adhesion status.
Okay. So cardiovascular system, if someone asks you what are the challenges in cardiovascular system in a patient with end-stage renal disease, so it will be hypertension, arrhythmias, ischemic heart disease, accelerated atherosclerosis, okay, and this one failure, okay. Pericardial effusion could be there, but it is not related to fluid overload, okay. If you are telling something, if you should be correct or don't say. You can say just like pericardial effusion. Pericardial effusion do occur in patients with renal failure, okay, but it is not related mainly because of fluid overload, okay. Fluid overload,
Sir,
if you are correlating it, it is more related to pulmonary edema. Okay.
So another thing is that, sir, we should be concerned about the electrolytes imbalance, especially the potassium one, and another it can be sodium as well, sir. And sir,
potassium. Okay, what else? Other than potassium, what will be the second electrolyte to be told?
Sir, it
will it be sodium? Will it be sodium, or will it be calcium?
Yes, sir, sodium. No. And maybe potassium and
no, just a second. In the patients,
sodium may be low.
Why then? Why sodium may be low? Okay, fine. But what is more significant? Potassium and calcium and phosphate.
Yes.
These are the things which are creating all the problem. Sodium is the fourth one.
Hypocalcemia or hyperphosphatemia may be there.
Yes. Okay. Hyperkalemia and hypocalcemia. This is the detrimental things. Hyponatremia or hypernatremia is not as important as compared to hyperkalemia or hypocalcemia. Okay.
And so there must be concerned about the anemia, chronic anemia, sir. And we should be concerned about the erythropoietin production. And
what is the reason for chronic anemia in patient with end-stage renal disease?
Because of the maybe because of uremia.
Okay. What else?
Because of the because of some losses like GI losses because of blood loss.
Why blood loss more occur in patients with renal disease?
Because platelet dysfunction may be there.
Yes, vascular endothelial involvement. Okay, because of this not collaboration between wall-variable factor 8 and platelets. So there is platelet dysfunction, which is functional, which is number will be okay, but the function will be lost. And how can you check that function?
So we can get function by the bleeding time. Bleeding time we can check it,
What
and
else?
another thing by the platelet. I should say platelet. We should
Platelet function assay.
right.
Platelet
Patient
function assay.
fraction.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So,
sir.
Tayyaba, be ready for the answer of concerns related to dialysis and how, like in the both intraoperative and postoperative, in the whole of the perioperative period, concerns related to end stage renal, concerns related to dialysis dependent patient. I will ask you shortly. Okay. So, what about respiratory system?
Sir, in the respiratory system, and there may be some because of the fluid overload. There may be, I can say, there may be shortness of breath.
Okay. What else?
And there may be pulmonary edema.
Okay.
And because of we will see we'll also see in the because of the fluid overload, mostly the patient of of the chronic renal failure, they always go for the dialysis because of the pulmonary edema and
Okay.
pleural effusion.
Okay. Fine. Fine. What about neurological system?
There may be autonomic neuropathy.
What else?
And there may be stroke, DVT, and the DVT can occur. And
Okay. What about GIT?
gastroparesis can be there, blood loss can be there.
Okay.
Because
So
of the
gastroparesis is the concern, or aspiration is a concern? Okay. So please, Atiq bhai, when they are asking you the question, what are the concerns in a patient with end stage renal disease? You have to tell 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 points from the each system, so that you are able to tell them and the clinical implication. Like you will be saying that cardiovascular system will be under stress. There will be hypertension, cardiomyopathy, heart failure, or as you told, and then there will be electrolyte imbalance, which can have detrimental cardiovascular effects. Okay, like hyperkalemia and hypocalcemia. So this is your concern. Then concerns related to dialysis, Tayyaba will just tell us shortly. Okay. Then there are concerns related to patient decompensating and going into uremia. Okay. There is gastroparesis leading to aspiration risk. Okay. There are prolongation. There is prolongation of the drugs, especially with active metabolites excreting through kidneys. So that will be changing the avoidance of the drugs which have renal excretion. Okay.
Because of this, because of the chronic renal failure, there may be altered response of drug related things.
No need to tell in like detail. Okay. But at least when they are asking you the concern, try to figure out this answer should be on your tips now. Okay. Changes, effect,
Okay.
manage. Okay. And that, because if you tell this you are passing this question. After that, you will have so much margin. Okay. So there will be challenges in intubation. There will be challenges in fluid management. There will be challenges in pain management. You cannot give any block safely. Even if you are, for example, you say you did the BT and you did platelet function, say yes, fine. Platelet function, say you cannot do very nicely. Okay. And there is always risk of hematoma. So regional anesthesia is always to be given with cautious, risk versus benefit. Okay. Analgesia is a big problem. You cannot give NSAID. You can only give paracetamol. You can you cannot give medications like morphine, pethidine. Okay, so they have active metabolites. Then intubation, you have challenge. You cannot give suxamethonium. You have to do modified rapid sequence induction because there is risk of aspiration, and still you cannot give suxamethonium. Okay. Like
Sir,
this.
sir, what about this? The sux can be given if if there is no hyperkalemia.
It's a relative discussion. Okay, you have to make risk versus benefit. If the patient is dialyzed, potassium is okay, and you are not anticipating, it's fine. But still, when there is if there is option, of rocuronium availability, suxamethonium will not be the priority. Okay. So that you can, because you are telling in the exam that you can give, but if rocuronium is available, that is a better choice. Okay. So try to correlate the answer so that it will be, because we have not gone up to the surgery. So which the surgery was Rivian hip arthroplasty. Rabia or anyone would like to say words for Rivian Rivian hip surgery? I will ask you, Rabia. So please, Tayyeba, please tell what are the concerns in perioperative period in a patient who is dialysis dependent.
First of all, sir, if my patient is dialysis dependent, it means there must be some anatomical, physiological, and pharmacological concerns of this patient, because the patient is of the end stage renal disease. So the concerns of the dialysis they are the two major concerns of the dialysis and the concerns of the end stage renal disease which the patient is having. Now, you are specifically talking about the dialysis. So coming towards the dialysis, I must be asking about the type of the dialysis, how many times did the dialysis is done, via the fistula or the double human, and also I am also be concerning about the last dialysis done, and now the serum electrolytes status of the patient, and also I will be concerning about the anticoagulation status of the patient, because in many dialysis they are also using the heparin or in the anticoagulation. So this would be my concern preoperatively. Now, if this is a fistula, then there are the concerns of the fistula intraoperatively. Now what else?
I'm sorry, but I missed it. You have to see the effects of dialysis, like electrolyte imbalance or disequilibrium syndrome. Okay.
Yes.
Disequilibrium syndrome. Like you can shorten this word by need. Type is not that much important for us. This is the domain of nephrology. We are more related to the whether it is dialysis. This one through AV fistula or through this one double lumen. The dialysis. I think use the word dialysis catheter rather than double lumen. Dialysis catheter is so all the concerns related to the concerns and complications related to the dialysis catheter, and the concerns or the problems or challenges related to AV fistula, and the concerns and problems related to overdo of dialysis or less do of dialysis. Okay, like if it is needed and it's not been done, or it is being done but overdone, and there is hypotension, there is anemia, there is electrolyte imbalance in the other way around. Now patient is hypokalemic, patient is having the other things related to this one. This is like you told one of them, you told heparin. Okay, so you can just classify in your mind, so you will not be telling, you will not be missing anything. Or even, for example, if you describe in this way, then I guarantee you that examiner will be very impressed by you. Okay, so just try to classify, and then it will be easy for you not to miss anything. Okay, so these are the things you will not put. What is the consideration of doing ABGs in patient with renal failure? What is the preferred site to do ABGs if you want to do?
Sir, it must be it must not be on the non-dependent hand, because non-dependent hand might be used for the AV fistula. So you must be securing that non-dependent head for the future use, and also do not use the big arteries and the big veins. Try to use the palm and the radial artery of the right hand is
No,
perfect for the
no,
AV.
no, 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 no. You are missing this point. It's not like that. It is said where usually they are forming the fistula. Upper
On
limb.
the non-dependent side,
No,
No,
not.
on the upper limb,
cubital
left
fossa
side,
or yeah, and
Uh,
forearm.
left side.
just a second, please.
Sorry.
They are doing it in upper limbs generally. Okay, so try not to poke in upper limbs. If you go to bookish, preferably it should be taken from dorsalis pedis artery,
Dorsalis pedis.
because
Yeah,
this is
dorsalis.
not the place usually to make AV fistula. Okay, because femoral artery, it's a deep artery, like it can bleed in these patients. So femoral artery may finished. Brachial artery, brachial artery usually should not be used in any patient for arterial cannulation or ABGs, because why? What's the reason for it?
No collateral.
No collateral. Okay, it is a sole artery, so it should not be the preferable site for any patient, because you don't know what happens later on. Okay, if you make to thrombosis in the brachial artery, there can be serious sequelae. So this is the reason you are using the word non-dependent and dependent. It's not required. Okay, you can just say that try to avoid poking in the upper limbs, because one side is having already fistula. So if you said yourself that you should be avoiding even the other side, because the fistula can block and they need to use the other side as well. Okay, so it is usually not recommended to take ABGs or arterial line in upper limb. Okay, dorsalis pedis artery is the one which is relatively safe. So this is one point I wanted to tell. Type of dialysis or whatever, that is also not very important. You can mention, because you see there will be so much to ask the Eva, so you don't have to waste your time in things which are not significant. You just have to try to tell what is more important for being anesthetist. Okay, so these are the concerns which we have covered up till now in cardiovascular system, neurological system, gastrointestinal system. We discuss about anemia because of erythropoietin absence or decrease, and there are like bleeding tendencies, and there is vascular endothelial problems. There are like platelet dysfunction. Okay, and we have pharmacological pharmacokinetic changes because of like volume problems and the metabolic problems. Okay, so this is all about renal failure practically, which you will be using. So airway problems, cannulation problems, sampling problems, risk of arrhythmias, risk of patient having hypertension, risk of patient having chronic anemia. So all the concerns related to chronic anemia, compensated or decompensated. Usually they have low hemoglobin, so you don't need to over transfuse them because they are compensated. Okay, and like you have to plan the patient for in that way clinically with the 3 steps: changes, effect, management. Change, effect, management. Whatever you are telling, try to make up in your mind. Or even you see some people ask, this discussion is for Viva. This is not for Viva, please. This is just to clarifying your concepts. If you have clear concept, then you will be able to understand more, even if you are preparing for MCQs. If you don't have concept and you are just trying to cram an answer, you will definitely fail. Okay, so try to make the concept whatever you are doing, try to find it in 3 steps: change, effect, management. Change, effect, management. This is true for number of things which you are reading, believe me. Okay, so now come to hand over to Rabia. What are the concerns related to revision hip surgery?
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Be meticulous, because in real time, yes, you can tell here a little bit more, but remember one thing, that in exam you are telling actually 3 things usually. So like, sorry, the concerns related to surgery, concern related to patient, and concern related to the, like, sorry, procedure related, patient
Position.
related, and position related. So like you have to be very meticulous about the time. Okay. So Rabia, please start.
So
Concerns.
in this patient, the concerns are related to the age of the patient,
No,
that
no,
is
no, we are only,
pharmacological,
this is we have
anatomical,
discussed.
and
So concerns related to review and surgery.
yes, concern related to the choice of anesthesia, position, concern related to blood loss,
Very good.
and concern related to the bone cement implantation and its consequences, and also concern related to thromboprophylaxis.
Very good. Almost you have covered, but if you make it a little order, that will be better. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So review and hip surgery, there will be some reason. Okay. So that
Yes,
can
sir.
be, that can be some reason which can be significant. Yes, Tayyaba?
Sir, analgesia as well.
Yes, yes, analgesia as well. That's what I'm just trying to cover. She has missed it because she was not in order. Okay. So if you just reason for review and hip, discussion with the surgeon, what is their plan, what are they going to do? Okay. So this will be
Yes.
a concern. Position, of course, will be lateral. So concerns related to positioning, lateral positioning during do it and reversing it. So this will be a consideration. Choice of anesthesia, yes, it will be a consideration what you want to give in this patient. And then this will be usually review and hip surgery, or if it is not fracture, then pain will be not that significant as compared to a patient with a fracture. Okay. If the patient is having fracture, then pain will be a significant consideration. If review and hip surgery is only for just misalignment or pain or some other thing, it can be, that's what you will be discussing with the surgeon, whether there is a fracture or whether there is some dislocation or something like that, which just need to be corrected. It can be reason because of posture, because of movement, because of this one patient is not able to move. Okay. It can be any reason. So like today what I did, they did the whole of the procedure again. Okay. It was redo actually. So so I'm just telling you, it can be a long procedure. Bleeding can be a concern. So when you say bleeding, it should be in your mind. So you have to do all the things to reduce the bleeding, the hypotensive and positional and cell saver and whatever you want to say,
Inferior
transenamic,
devices,
whatever
blood and
you
blood
want to say.
products,
So
warming.
you will say that all the blood conservative strategies related to position, pharmacology, or the provision of antifibrinolytics and blood products. So in this word you can cover everything. So concerns related to the physiological effects on respiratory system and cardiovascular system in lateral position. Okay. So this will be it. So that patient will be like practically we do something else. Like you see, I give this patient morphine as well, despite knowing that patient is having. And can we give morphine, by the way, if patient is on end stage renal disease? Practically in exam you will never say, but practically can we give or no?
Sir, in reduced doses we can give with increased duration or intervals.
No, this is not the reason. The reason can be something else. The patient is on dialysis. Okay. So
Yes.
whatever garbage is there, it will be dialyzed. So
Yes, sir.
okay, and you can be observing the patient. Practically, please never say morphine in any exam. Practically, I again say that whatever you want to do, you can do according to your experience. But in exam, never use pethidine or morphine or any renally excreted muscle relaxants. I did everything against the book. I used rocuronium. I reversed with sugammadex. Okay. I also gave ketamine. So that is practicalities. Okay. But in the exam, you cannot be very hero, because after that after passing the exam, you can do anything. Okay. So this is all about this case. Anyone wants to add or ask anything? Anyone? Okay. Yes, Tayyaba?
Sir, transfusion trigger of the end-stage renal disease or the patient with the dialysis is less than 6 gram per deciliter. I have read.
Yes.
This is right.
6 to 7. You see, actually, they will not go in too much details. But usually these patients does not need to have that hemoglobin which is there because they are chronically compensated. Okay, so you will be seeing according to the situation. Like I'm just matching it with what I did today. That I just, because around 600 ml blood loss, and I just replace it with the blood because I did not give any other much of the fluid. I just gave some blood, and I just gave some because we have here 5% human albumin. So I used you give some albumin and this one 1 unit of PRBCs. Okay, so that
Sir,
is
one
actually,
more question.
yes.
Sorry. Sir,
Transfusion trigger,
there
you
are
can
two
say that-
scenarios.
You can say that it will be slightly lower because they are chronically compensated. There is no fixed answer to it actually. Okay, yes.
Okay. Sir, one more question. There are two scenarios of the dialysis dependent patient. One who is making some urine output and the other who is not, who is anuric. Okay. Now
What will it change?
concern, my concern is,
Tell me one thing.
my concern is,
I'm sorry to just to interrupt, just to clarify this point. Is it important for us?
yes, intraoperatively.
patient-
I
when
just
the
want to
patient-
ask,
When the patient is on end stage renal disease, you cannot give too much fluid in any patient, even if the patient is making a little bit of urine.
yes,
You
you're
cannot.
absolutely right. But my
Yes, you
point
can.
of concern is whether I have to tell the examiners that I will do all the measures to reduce the, just to secure the kidney which is left, which is making the urine, in the case if the kidney is making urine. And in the case of the dialysis, I am not, I am not thinking about the drugs, and because I have no concern of making the kidney safe
Just tell me
because
one
the
thing. No,
patient is on dialysis.
you will find your answer yourself. Just tell me one thing. Like you see you have told something which is actually not very correct. Like you have said that the kidney which is making urine. How will you come to know that this kidney is making urine? But is again going back to the question which I asked to Atik Bhai, and actually he was not able to answer rightly. And actually now I'm worried about you as well, because you are not telling the right concept of end stage renal disease. End stage renal disease is something else than a patient with chronic renal failure. You are talking about chronic renal failure. Okay, in chronic renal failure, patient can be in different categories. When we label the patient as end stage renal disease.
So when the GFR is less, the creatinine clearance is less than 10 ml per minute.
So how can that person make urine? Have you ever seen a patient with end stage renal disease making significant amount of urine, or even if they whatever urine they
Not
are producing, is it
significant amount of urine, but
you will not label Tayyaba. Just try to understand this point, that you are saying that you will try to save one kidney. This is no, please don't repeat this word again. Okay.
Actually, she confused with end-stage renal disease with the chronic kidney disease.
That's
Mild,
what I,
moderate, and severe, and decrease in GFR. There way, if there is around mild to moderate decrease in GFR, then we consider about all the factors about use of NSAIDs and maintain the mean arterial pressure. Okay. But if there is already end-stage renal disease, patient on dialysis last 3 months, and then there is no other concerns about the urine or not urine. Patient is
okay.
urine.
So this is what
Okay.
is okay. And another thing is that how this is now, if you discuss this thing, they will ask you this question. Tell me one thing. What is how do you define like how do you, this is one way is for through urine output or other clinical features. How do you radiologically say that this patient has significant kidney damage? How do you label it radiologically? Ultrasound, I'm sorry, not purely X-ray. How do you tell with what thing? There is a particular name for it. Loss of, yes, loss of corticomedullary differentiation. Okay, so with that you can say that how much kidney is working. Otherwise, there is no other way, unless how will you calculate that this kidney is functioning this much and this kidney is functioning this much, because it will be decreased overall. Okay, Tayyaba?
Yes, sir. Sir, loss of corticomedullary.
Differentiation.
What?
Corticomedullary.
Okay.
Usually there is differentiation in the CRF. The ultrasound people, they pick the like that. They measure the cortex, they measure the medulla. I don't know too much details about it, but this is how it is. Corticomedullary differentiation. It is loss in renal failure. Okay, or otherwise they will be doing some renal scans or something like that. This is not
Specific centers,
PTTS scan.
nuclear isotopes they use
Yes.
to check the GFR or renal scans.
Yes, renal perfusion scans. This is another way, but usually, practically speaking, you cannot label that which kidney is functioning and which kidney is not functioning if the patient is already have end-stage renal disease. Okay, so I hope you have clarified this confusion, and I think we will. Because I am really tired today, so we will just discuss some more points about renal failure, okay, rather than doing another case. It will not be possible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Atik bhai, now you will be able to answer it in a better way, or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was quite apprehensively
Yes.
explained by Dr. Tayyaba and Dr. Jamil.
Yes, what you are asking?
I was asking that, sir, about asking about the complete renal failure or end-stage disease, sir. It is the complete loss of renal function for more than 3 months, or GFR less than 10 ml per minute, sir.
Yes, that's what that was the question from which I started. Okay.
Sir, I got the opportunity so that I should give the appropriate answers on this
Yes.
forum.
Yes. Okay. So I hope now if they are asking you, do you know the question of concern? I will tell you that even if they have asked, this is my hint for all the people who are appearing in any oral exam, even if they have not asked you to tell concern, create your answer with the concern, because this will finish your problem in the viva. If you are able to chalk out the concerns properly, you will not miss anything, because in the exam anxiety, you are bound to miss. You will be you will be just moving like anything. You will become like a dodging car. You will be thrown away in your thoughts from one point to other point. If you are at start, you say this way, like now we have finished this case, we will say this patient is having end-stage renal disease. So my concerns are related to the multisystemic involvement in a patient having end-stage renal disease. So I will be looking at the reason for end-stage renal disease to find any concerns related to that reason, like for example, diabetes or hypertension. Okay, this is one point. And all the concerns related to systems, you can say that neurologically patient can have autonomic neuropathy and patient can go in uremia. So I will be avoiding all the factors, careful pre-medication, and all the factors which can precipitate the patient in uremia. This is one thing. Then you will be looking at the you will have the problems related to cardiovascular system, respiratory system, GIT, and you will be telling one by one, highlight and pearls, and try to explain in the way, even in the concern, when you have started your answer, you can tell all these things so that he knows from the very start that this gentleman knows everything. Okay, or this patient, this gentleman, and whatever he want to ask you, then you can go. That there will be concerns related to Rivian hip arthroplasty, as we discussed. Okay, and the positions related to bleeding and patient judicious fluid management, need for dialysis. Okay, and all the care which we are providing to this patient. Okay.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, as you said, sir, how can we say that the patient has got anuria, oliguria, or azotemia, sir? Can you explain about this thing, sir? So that it should be.
Azotemia is, I think, the clinical features along with uremia is azotemia. I don't have very good concept about it, by the way.
And what about any urea?
And urea has no production of urine.
Sir,
as far as
azotemia is high concentration of blood urea nitrogen and creatinine in the blood.
Okay.
And it's azotemia. And what was
Okay.
another question?
Uremia, I think I'm telling the other
No,
way.
sir.
No, just a second. Okay, please tell.
And urea is less than 100 ml per 24 hours, and urea less than 500 ml per 24 hours.
No, actually, you are telling about urea, and she's telling about azotemia and uremia.
Sir, I asked about azotemia as well, sir.
Yes, so one by one. So Rabia, azotemia is the increased blood urea nitrogen, and uremia are the features in addition to azotemia. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is one thing to be clarified, and the other one, oliguria and anuria, how to differentiate?
Urea is less than 500 in 24 hours, and anuria is less than 100 ml per 24 hours.
You see, now you are telling this thing. How will you correlate with the age? How will you correlate with the weight?
That is the actually I want to ask from the forum that somebody could answer.
This is usually you are telling about adult patient. Okay, so this is for roughly for 60 to 70 kg. If they will ask you, that's what I'm telling you, that you don't need to tell in everything. Oliguria is decreased urine output to that level that as you can tell about with the GFR, that will be easier to tell. Okay.
About the kidney failure, kidney failure is less than 25 ml of GFR, and the end-stage renal disease is less than 10 ml, sir,
Yes.
per minute.
So now, from where we started, from the word end-stage renal disease. Okay, and end-stage renal disease already finished with the. Okay, so a few words about problems with the calcium and phosphate and parathormone in renal failure, because I'm not doing another topic, we can discuss these things as well. Anyone? What happens in
Yes,
renal?
sir, there is basically.
Yeah,
Sir, there is
vitamin
basically.
Okay, please.
Please, batao. Just tell, please, Tayyaba.
Sir, there is basically hyperphosphatemia. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Junaid.
Jameel, please.
There is.
Just a second. Do you know what are the problems? What you need to tell? Then you will be easier to tell. There is one related to parathormone, and this one. So parathormone will be affecting calcium and phosphate. Am I right?
Yes, because there is hyperparathyroidism due to the hypocalcemia. So parathyroid hormone is more. So there is secondary hyperparathyroidism. So there is the risk of fractures and the other metabolic bone disease, metabolic abnormalities in the bone because of this.
They are breaking the bone.
Because to meet the need of calcium of the body, they are just getting the calcium from the bone.
Okay, Jameel, if you can tell some word about the physiology, about vitamin D and calcium.
Yeah, she's right. Actually, the process started from first hypocalcemia because of kidney also participate in the metabolism or the absorption of the vitamin D. This 1 and 25 calciferol first absorbed from the skin, and then in the kidney, then in the livers now, and it's also participate in the metabolism.
So just to clarify a little bit for this thing, Jameel, that it's from where I wanted to listen from you people, that the problem starts with the maturation or activation of vitamin D, which is related to the absorption of calcium. Okay.
calcium in the kidney.
when-
When there is kidney
when-
failure, first of there is hypocalcemia. That
Yes.
one the stimulate to the parathyroid hormone.
Yes. Okay.
And then the circle started. Then the parathyroid hormone, what he release
Is eating the bone. Is eating the bone. Simple words.
to
Okay.
maintain the calcium level in the
Absorption of the calcium from the.
Yes, there is option. I'm using a little simple words. I'm not, I am a simple person.
And vitamin D just helps in the absorption from the GIT and from from kidney and from the skin.
Yes.
If there is no vitamin D3, started all the cycle. To
Jamil, can I ask you where the parathyroid hormone active on kidney and which portion of the nephron?
This is not very important, Atik bhai. Please
Yeah,
forget
I
about
Sir,
it.
this is the proximal tubule from where it acts because of the
reabsorbs, yeah.
phosphate, and from the distal, yes, and the distal
Distal
tubule,
converted to
From
distal
where it-
converted.
both PCT and distal tubule.
Okay, okay. And what about the ADH? So we are discussing about the things hormones. We should also discuss about this one as well.
ADH.
Where
Antidiuretic hormone. This in distal and collecting tubules. They act as
collecting tubules.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
So what else is left? Okay. So
Sir, sir, in the cortical area, the hormone secretes are aldosterone and sir, maybe some I can say EDH and PTH as well. What about the cortical and
No,
medullary?
ADH not in. You are talking about the.
No, sir.
adrenal glands.
I'm talking about the cortical and medullary both. From
You means the site of action of different hormones means aldosterone and ADH on the nephron.
on the front medullary nephron and cortical nephrons.
Atik
So
bhai,
basically,
I couldn't catch.
this is
basically
not.
ADH acts on the medullary cortical tubules, and the aldosterone acts on the cortical collecting tubules. So there are two collecting tubules. One is cortical and other is medullary. Aldosterone acts on medullary on the cortical, and the ADH acts on the medullary. That's it.
This is for the development of counter current mechanism. Okay.
No, sir.
No,
Counter
sir,
current
no, sir.
mechanism
Yes, this is
works in
other-
the
other-
loop
other
of
mechanism.
Henle.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that one is the maintain the osmolarity in the loop of Henle by the urea cycle. Counter
Okay.
current. This
Okay.
this is the other.
It has
concept.
effect on the ADH. It has some relation with ADH as well, because ADH will be doing the same thing. One is by urea,
Definitely.
one is by urea, and one by ADH. Okay.
Yeah,
This-
this osmolarity maintain the absorption electrolytes from the loop of Henle, different at a different level, but it's a different concept that the ADH,
Okay. Okay, fine. Before we finish, I just want to discuss some by what about the inhalational agents in renal failure, IV agents in renal failure, neuromuscular blocking agents in renal failure, local anesthetics in renal failure. Okay, what is starting from inhalational? What are better?
So isoflurane is better.
So and desflurane are
desflurane is I think the best, the minimum that
both iso and des are recommended.
Desflurane has something related to some decussated. I think decussation with carbon monoxide is related to the production of fluorides, because the metabolism will be the most from morphine. Sorry, this one halothane and sevoflurane. More metabolism than isoflurane and desflurane. So that makes it desflurane and isoflurane better. Okay. And this one enflurane and sevoflurane and halothane is not good. So what
Not
about
in practice, actually, we would consider the inhalation agent that have minimum metabolites.
yes? So what about IV anesthetics?
Yeah, I mean, anesthetics like propofol,
So propofol-
Propofol is,
that also have a minimum metabolites, also active metabolites.
we
It's
can also give etomidate, but it can cause adrenal suppression.
You know why you want to give etomidate? Just tell me.
If the patient is hemodynamically unstable, then
Okay. So if the patient is already having, like in which condition you will say etomidate? Patients with cardiac instability and arrhythmias or something?
yes, sir. That's
Okay. Okay, fine. You are fine. But you know, even you can say that you can use the titrated doses and you can have a cocktail. Okay, cocktail with because these patients are at risk of infections. These patients are having immune suppression. So etomidate is actually, unless there is some cardiac problem in the way that there is evident ischemia or something, and you don't want to have any myocardial suppression, that is the only thing where you will be using etomidate. Okay, because even like you can make a cocktail of the medicines, like you can use some doses of propofol, midazolam. Okay, so that will be equally good. Okay, if you
one thing in etomidate, if the patient is having hypoalbuminemia, then it will cause high effect because it is protein bound.
yes. So what about the dosage of thiopentone or propofol? Will it be decreased
they
or
should be given
It will decrease.
only in titrated doses.
Tadrol is 1 ml 1 mg per kg.
okay?
So titrated doses should be given.
Titrated doses should be given, but more effect with propofol or more effect with thiopentone?
I guess more effect with propofol.
Okay, I'm not sure. I think more effect should be the one which more protein bound, which is more protein bound.
propofol.
Okay, so it should be effect on the drug which is more bound to to proteins. Okay,
Proteins, then the free drug will be more effective. If there is more bound through the protein, less drug will be available, free drug.
yes.
And propofol is, rapidly first protein bound more than propofol.
Okay, so and what else? Atracurium, cis atracurium will be the best one. Okay,
Yes,
atracurium
can be given. Etra and
cis
cis,
atracurium and atracurium, rocuronium and vicuronium and pancuronium should not be.
No. Yeah, sorry.
And suxamethonium, as we discussed, risk versus benefit.
Sir,
Because
if we want to prolong the effect of that muscular agent, then the rocuronium can be given, sir.
Atik bhai, the problem is that it will have because they are renally excreted. Yes, you are right. If metabolism is fine, you can give it. Okay, but usually you will cis atracurium will be a better choice. Okay.
Right, sir.
Rocuronium is not contraindicated, but it is you see if they will be asking you asking you in this way, that if you are you will be expecting that it can have some prolonged effect. Okay, so you can reduce the doses so that the effect is not changed. Okay, and plasma cholinesterase. So there is some problem in plasma cholinesterase in renal failure as well.
Sir, I don't think so.
Renal, no, sir.
No, sir. There's no effect on plasma cholinesterase. But if hepatic,
What about new stigmine? New stigmine.
Sir, clearance is reduced, so the effect would be prolonged.
Yes.
50% exceeded reduces. in
So
the,
that's why why cisatracurium is better, because cisatracurium doesn't necessarily need now. This will be an answer for not giving rocuronium, or not a very good choice, because
okay.
cisatracurium you don't need to give muscle reversal. Okay, so that is the most benign one, that will be metabolized in the blood, and you don't need to give the muscle reversal, because otherwise you need to give reversal. Okay, so the reversal clearance is prolonged, so itself we will have some
Yes, sir. Sir, if the
unwanted
patient,
effects. Okay,
sir, if the patient is on, the patient is we having crash intubation, and we are also having hyperkalemia, and we can't use these succinylcholine. Can we give can we give rocuronium, and and also we have
if you have
the patient.
Sugammadex, because Sugammadex and that's what I told you, that I use rocuronium. Okay, I didn't need to give for 6 hours. I just gave, can you believe, I just gave 50 milligram, and the surgery lasted for 6.5 hours. I did not repeat anything. I just give a combination of some desflurane, some dexmedetomidine, some ketamine, some in a small amount of propofol. I gave around 5 milligram, like you can say 1.1 milligram per kg of morphine. 5 milligram I gave. Her weight was around 50 kg. So like I'm just telling you these practicalities, but in clinical exam you cannot tell these things. Okay, in the clinical exam you have to be very cautious, that you will not say, you will say, yeah, you will not give morphine, you will try to give which opioid will be the best one?
Remifentanil.
Remifentanil infusion. Okay, and remifentanil can also be given. Okay.
Yes.
And like pethidine, tramadol, they are not very good options. Okay, especially my pethidine and tramadol you can give, but pethidine and morphine should not be given, because they have active metabolites, and you cannot predict about it. Okay. So
Sir, the reason effect of drugs are potentiated in renal failure is decreased protein binding, decreased elimination, and also due the disruption of blood-brain barrier due to uremia and systemic effect of uremia. So overall, the concept is that we have to reduce almost about 50% of the dose as we required in the normal person, as compared to the normal person. So these are the main reasons why we reduce the doses of almost all the groups of the drugs.
Okay, so I think we will finish here. And anyone wants to ask any question before we finish?
Sir, what about the vasopressor? Which vasopressor is the best one in chronic renal failure, sir? Is it
best one? Best one?
No, sir. It is the not the best one. Comparatively better.
No. You can say, but it will be depending on the scenario. Okay. Is there any problem with phenylephrine? Is there any problem with norepinephrine? These are the prime vasopressors. And what about ephedrine? Is there any problem with ephedrine? Because ephedrine is mixed, hybrid.
What about dopamine, sir?
Dopamine, who is using dopamine for vasoconstriction now?
No, sir, it can preserve the renal function as well.
No. This is please. The renal perfusion with the dopamine and the low dose renal low renal dose concept.
Old concept. And if we are talking about this end stage renal disease, what is the then logic to talk about the renal perfusion? First thing, second thing, it's old concept that low dose of dopamine increase the urine output, means the renal perfusion and urine output, maintain the renal protective. No, it's old concept. It was before, when you give high dose of dopamine, it increase mean arterial pressure, and it will increase the renal perfusion also. But now for renal protective or to give low dose dopamine, there is no concept, no place for this concept. Okay.
What about phenyldopamin?
Same like if you want to for renal product of these both things, no, there is no concept for these things. Just
No, you are right. Listen, the what is now you will answer this question, Atik bhai. What are the main factors which are important if you are talking about end-stage renal disease or you are talking about renal risk? These are two different questions. First of
I'm
all,
talking about renal risk, sir.
okay, so renal risk. Then what is the most important factor in perioperative care? Most important factor. If someone asks you what is the most important anesthetic factor in and not pharmacology, anesthetic factor which will define the renal perfusion, what is that one?
It is the mean arterial pressure.
Mean arterial pressure. Okay, so kidneys shut down earlier than brain. Am I right? So the lower limit for renal perfusion is 80. Okay, so whenever mean arterial blood pressure is going less than 80, there is decrease in renal perfusion. Okay, so the most important thing will be to maintenance of mean arterial pressure. So maintenance of mean arterial pressure will be depending on either volume or the vascular tone. So when you are giving even norepinephrine and the blood pressure is improved, it will, if you are giving low dose, okay, it will have not a detrimental effect on kidneys. So thus phenoldiazepam and these concepts, please don't poke into them because they are for specific surgeries where there is renal clamp, there is a clamp, okay? In those scenarios, you are giving phenoldiazepam or things like that. This is one thing. And if you are using any contrast, okay? In these scenarios, but usually
can we use
domain of Atik bhai, the domain of FCPS exam is beyond the questions which you are talking. Believe me, they will never be indulging in so much details. I tell you, they will ask you about cortical nephron. They will not fail you on this point. I guarantee you. There are so many other things which are more important than what you are thinking. Okay. You are talking about dopamine concept is finished. Now you are talking about phenoldiazepam. Yes, it's being used, but it's not very like it's not a frequently used medicine. Okay, how it works on renal protection? They will ask you this question. So if you are telling phenoldiazepam, you should be telling how it improves because it is antihypertensive. Am I right?
Sir, it is antihypertensive.
Usually it is being used as antihypertensive. So how it is maintaining the renal pressure?
Actually, Jamil is very good in Dr. Jamil is very good in pharmacology.
No. You Jeda bole ohe bua khole. Okay, so sorry for this international audience for this comment. The one who has asked the question has to answer it. This is the new rule.
Sir, the one thing is left, the local anesthetic effect.
No, let us close this topic of phenoldiazepam, then we will go to local anesthetic and then I will run away because I am starting having throbbing headache now. So I have to, yes. So you see, Atik bhai, so it is related to, of course, if you are forgetting, you can say that it will be related to the same receptors which you are talking for dopamine. Am I right? So
okay.
what are those receptors?
Sir, D1.
Okay, so dopamine receptors. Okay, and they are doing the relaxation for the capillary bed. This is the proposed mechanism. Okay.
Sir, what fluid should be given? Should be given in chronic renal failure, sir?
Would you be giving the potassium containing fluids?
No.
Okay. Would you be giving any fluid which is hypoosmotic?
No.
Okay. So then what else is left?
I think this one normal saline, sir.
Normal saline is left. Okay, but there are chances of having acidosis as well. So what is left? Actually, this is a very there is no contraindication like even practically, it's not contraindicated. But thing is that you are giving according to the situation. It will not be alike for every patient. Okay, it will not be alike for every patient. If you are on restricted, you are not giving any fluid, and normal saline will be a better choice as compared to any other fluid. Okay, but
The last, so the last thing,
again,
the last
if
thing
potassium, if it is CRF, you can give Ringer lactate. Okay, it's not again in end stage renal disease, you are not giving any fluid. You should be, if it is needed, you should be going giving colloids. It is better to give some colloids or replace blood if it is indicated. Okay, because otherwise you can have overload. Usually, unless there is bleeding, if you are bleeding, try to replace it with the blood or colloid. That will be the best option. Yes. I do the best. So
Sir,
it
is
is not the correct
the last question, sir, I am asking, sir, from the audience, sir, if you allow me, sir, if the bleeding occurred in intraoperatively, what measure we should be taken beside the normal VR?
I'm sorry, please, I missed your question. Please say it again.
Sir, if the patient is started bleeding, and Dr. Tayyaba said that there should the bleeding should be the concern, anesthetic concern. If the bleeding started, what remedy we are having with us to stop the bleeding, especially chronic renal failure patients, sir?
Okay, so we are using, what about role of tranexamic acid? Will it will have any effect? Okay,
It can be given, sir?
Yes, tranexamic acid is being given. It is
And,
antifibrinolytic.
factor-
And it is,
No, I think you just clarify your questions. It's intraoperative bleeding, and what is the reason of that bleeding? It's oozing or bleeding from the arteries. You don't have to direct, communication with the surgeon.
Uzi.
Uzi.
Oozing,
Tranexamic acid.
just to rule out, then your concept, might be there is platelet dysfunction. You immediately do the tag if you have there, and you see what is the reason.
Yes.
You are working in district hospital where there is no tag available there.
No, then the Dr. Tayyaba told that the patient, if coming after the dialysis, then there is the bleeding by, because the patient, most of the patient received anticoagulant, and they have still effect until 4 to 6 hours. Okay, and the
Residual heparin.
residual effect of heparin. Definitely better to
Yes, that can be given as protamine can be given.
delay the case after dialysis 4 to 6 hours until there is a life-threatening emergency. Okay, if there is a real emergency, you can revert by the protamine, giving protamine to the reversal of the heparin, or you take the blood products also, give FFP and platelets.
Usually it will be done one day before surgery, not immediately before surgery.
Can we give cryo?
What is, just a second, what is half-life of heparin?
4 to 6 hours.
Okay, so usually in 99% cases we are going like that. Okay, so yes, you can say that it can be because of effect of residual heparin. Okay, but usually the thing is that there is one exam question which is answered. If they are asking you if it's not available, then you will have to go according to what is available. Okay, you can start tranexamic acid. You can because reversing with protamine is not free of hazards. Okay, would you like to give protamine without checking the ACT?
No.
You should not give. You are not sure what's happening. Okay, so thing is that you will be complicating yourself. Listen. Yes, please.
No. My concern was if the patient, if it is life-threatening, immediately after dialysis, they need any surgery. Okay, then you can go for these things. Depends upon the scenario. Then you do act according to the scenario. Why you first rule out what is the reason of the bleeding. It's the residual effect of the heparin, or it's a dysfunction of the platelets, or something else.
You can, you see, because in the academic answer, you can say that you can do TEG, you can do ACT just to see what's happening. Okay. Or otherwise, you can start low dose of this transdynamic infusion. Transdynamic infusion will help. If there is arterial bleed, that will be controlled by the surgical maneuvers rather than anything else. Okay, and then you can use the tourniquet as well if there is a surgery.
Can we give factor 8? Sir, can we give factor 8, factor 7A, and cryoprecipitate or DDVP?
Sir, we can give these because in chronic renal patient due to uremia, there is defective endothelial release of von Willebrand factors. And also due to uremia, there are platelet dysfunctions. So cryoprecipitates and DDAVP can be given.
According to the scenario. Listen, what about blood and blood products? When we say blood and blood products, what does it mean by that, Dr. Atiq?
Sir, blood and blood products mean that actually blood or its derivative like platelets, like cryoprecipitate, like FFPs.
So all of these things are already there. Okay. So you can, in the exam, you can use the answer, the patient is bleeding. You will try to find the cause. If there is whatever facility is available, TEG can be given, TEG can be done, ACT can be done. Overall picture of the patient will be considered, and then you can do whatever is directed. Okay. Where Novo 7, what can be the complication with Novo 7?
Prothrombotic hai na, so it can lead to
it can cause thrombosis. Okay, it can cause thrombosis. So you can say that these are the things which you will be deciding according to the patient to patient. There is not that you will say that you will give, not like that. Okay, you will just evaluate the situation
And the last resort, factor 7, you know.
Last resort. Okay, so before we finish, again, things are cleared. So these are actually advanced level questions. Please don't hurt yourself. They will not go into that much detail, I guarantee you. Okay, they will be very simple, and if you are telling the answer in a methodical way, there is bleeding tendency, the patient can bleed. Okay, and the fluid management should be very judicious. You will be arranging the blood and blood products according to the surgical risk, and you will be giving it according to what is the apparent reason. You can, if there is some diagnostic tools available like TEG, it will help you. Okay, otherwise you will go one by one. Okay, there is no way, because there is no way, Atiq bhai, you can differentiate where in the surgical site, oozing, for example, oozing is occurring. You are not sure what you should give unless you have some evidence. Otherwise, you will be giving without evidence. You can give Novo 7, you can give cryoprecipitate, FFPs, like we do, like people do it. But FFP is more related in liver failure. In renal failure, it's problem related to platelets. Okay, so here the thing which
we should give blood products packed RBC, or sir, we can give whole blood as well, sir?
Whole blood concept is finished, just like concept of dopamine. There is no concept of even please don't say in our exam, nobody will be asking you this thing, despite knowing that we are giving a whole blood. But there is no concept of whole blood now anywhere. So please don't bring these things in your consideration. Always say PRBCs. Okay.
Okay. Sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, never,
and sir, the last one is your friends.
Yes, hypo. Yes, we have to maintain. Okay, bhai. Okay, bhai. I'm sorry because I am really tired. I apologize. I cannot continue.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a nice session. Jazakallah.